work. Oh, it is oh so cold. We've definitely hit Scorpio season. Libra season's got that nice even keel where it's cold like this at night, right? I mean, granted, the sun just rose. It's gonna get a little bit warmer, obviously. It'll probably go up 5 to 10 degrees, right? But I'm expecting it to only go up like 5 to 10 degrees from this, right? This is where we fix hard into the wintry feelings, right? We're on the wintry side of fall now. The trees are well peppered with color, and many of them already getting bare, right? Which is why I find it interesting that things hit certain beats on the celestial clock that line up within reason to the economic calendar that we usually measure our days within years, and things on their annual cycles, they all line up pretty well right around this late October time when we transition the sun into Scorpio in tropical, which, like, because here's the joke, right? In sidereal, it's still in Libra, right? And sidereal in Libra is where the sun actually is. So, like, the sun is in Libra in actuality. However, our tropical system kind of has us ahead because of that 23.4 degree tilt, where we're doing things ahead of where things are, and we're doing it that way based on effectively the axial tilt, right? And we're favoring that axial that system. I think it's a form of sympathetic magic for pole shift, right? Because Team Light is trying to manifest this pole shift to the paradise, fire in the middle, right? Or another way to, that's pyramid, but paradise, is basically when things are evenly paired, right? This is where the sun is evenly paired across the world because it doesn't have an axial wobble, right? Or if you insist on and is welcome here, flat Earth comprehension of the universe. That roulette track is now straightening itself out for each of the inner and outer ring of the world, right? So there, I've covered all the bases for how my ideas work on multiple levels. So, because it's all an effing vernacular problem. Because the only thing anybody's actually talking about is what we're experiencing here on the ground. It's just that some of us need to say that it looks a certain way objectively, and others need to say it looks a different way objectively, and that's because everybody's got a lot of information, and so therefore it's so overwhelming the amount of information they have from the angle that they're looking at, that they think they've got the objective snag on it. But there's something tricky about how our reality unfolds itself to us, even in a collective sense, because there's a little bit of collectivism in objectivism from Ayn Rand, because you're going to have to surrender your aspects of yourself when it comes to understanding, where you could end up lying to yourself because you think you're looking at X points of data that you didn't think through properly, right? I mean, the epistemology of objectivism's important, but all of that falls apart if you do not have a trivium process getting you through that very epistemology. You know, having your trivium process is, or the trivium process. I'm only saying it because I don't know, maybe it's weird the way it occurs in language. But this process is what holds the value of your contribution to the objective absolute in its comprehension. Video game madness. You're funny. Virtual insanity. How can you process anything with only one brain cell? How do you prefer TS or who are you people? Very weird question. Hey, what's up, Theo? I saw that you were on I think Awaken Your Mind or something like that. So I have to get around to checking that out. I'm sitting there, I'm looking, it's like Theo. Oh, that's the Theo. That's my Theo, isn't it? How you doing, dude? So I was making a little bit of a point here about why we're doing this whole thing. And so, like, the biggest thing I like about tropical astrology is that 23.4 degree inaccuracy to the sky as it actually is the sky as it's supposed to be when the axis mundi is restored to what the myths call Mount Meru, right? The great pillar of our world, set at the top of it, right? The mountain, which is a petrified tree stump of what was the physical manifestation of the world tree in this realm long ass time ago. I almost want to say that motherfucker came down like pre-flood. Like I want to say they fucking tore that fucking tree down, possibly pre-Genesis. I almost want to say it's a pre-Genesis thing. I think that's how long back. I think that it was the fall of the world tree in the physical world that caused the events that would lead us to Genesis 1, with the understanding of Genesis 1 being the kickstart of another cycle of things. As I've stated many times before, creation myths are not about the creation of the world. They are those magical allegories of the mythos that explain to you the scientific principle of creation as a process, creating as a process. You can unpack the Norse creation myth and you can translate it right into fucking midwife language, right? This is the woman giving birth, the 9 months, the 9 days of Odin hanging on the tree, and yada yada yada. Ymir the screamer coming out of the whole thing. Like, there's all these correlations that can be made. If I sat down, I could be more coherent about that because I'm making a simpler point, right? And so my flow state is kind of here just bringing up astrology, which is appropriate for the title about tomorrow, because I'm not talking about literally tomorrow. I'm talking about the next phase. One moment, please. Just gotta put that on Do Not Disturb. I'll respond to that very good text in a little bit. Unless my buddy notices that I'm live, then he can pop on and be like, oh, okay, Steve will get the text as soon as he's done doing this thing. But anyway, you must get some good acid. Does the buzzer mean you're incorrect? Nah. Right. So Tim, you must not be used to psychonauts and shamans and maguses and monks, and if you did believe in them, you probably only believe in the old school interpretation of somebody that you could never possibly relate to and is not running around working a 9 to 5, right? Because he's, quote, mastered something, you know? So therefore, everything I say is absurd and must be dismissed as just some really good drugs, right? So, you know, that's A-okay. That's A-okay. Because you're part of the crowd that's here because I'm just doing a drive stream with a kind of a vague title with no descriptions or any other kind of setup, you know? And thus, I can't expect much other than to expect that if you haven't got an expectation, that you will treat me like an imbecile because you're used to people being imbeciles that just like to fucking go off on YouTube and they're not a fucking business type of like media type account that's making all the good money that'll tell you everything you need to hear about that movie that you hate because it was too woke. Right? You can go fucking hang out with somebody funny and has production and doesn't fucking open up his personal fucking life to you and has nothing to offer you in personal growth and development, right? I too enjoy The Critical Drinker. I think he's great. But, you know, maybe if he cared more about the esoteric side of the higher purpose of what the arts that cinema entertains us through is doing, you know, he'd appreciate more of what needs to be in there in the sense of magic and other qualities, right? Me, I'm there. Oh, I'm all the way there. I'm the guy you want to have in that fucking conversation that nobody ever fucking calls to have a fucking conversation. Steve! Zerlath! Broski, this is your fucking cup of tea. Get on this fucking call, right? No, I don't get that call often. I do, but I don't. I get the call, I just don't get it often enough. But shout out those who have known the wisdom of having me on their panels. A little bit of a panel pitch, because why not? Right? Because now that we're in the winter, even if they pull off some terrible stunt, the winter's the winter. It's this crazy sedentary period, right? It makes sense that you would have an election at the beginning of the winter because it's too cold to fucking protest the results. You know? Imagine if you had your fucking election in August, right? You know, September's fair weather for an uprising. You can get a lot, you can change the whole fucking country in a month with the right violent uprising, right? So yeah, so in our region of the world, it makes tremendous sense to have our elections this time of year. Just before you have to fucking spend more time inside than outside. Because outside is a public domain and the government wants to have control of the public domain. It wishes. All my best efforts, and the world still fell to the psyop of the millennium. 4 years later, I am still pissed about people's abject avoidance and ignorance. But as painful as it is to see that massive amount of the population destroying itself, I'm also looking at the ones that didn't have a chance to grow up in that horror show had to endure some of this horror show. But are at the very least in a way more chill kind of. There's something a little bit more chill about this world. It was chilling in 2022 because we were watching the consequences of 2021 fucking happening in real time. But the rewards for those who held the line, they eventually came. By the spring, summer of 2022, it was effectively over. People's nervous systems couldn't hold it anymore, right? And it happens by the spring because the winter gives you that level of reset, right? The reason why everything worked the way that it did is that they did it right in the spring, right when things were getting good, to give you all that time to fucking have, the Floyd riots. And then you had beautiful weather. 2020, the weather in 2020, if you actually fucking stopped looking at the fucking people, the weather, I mean, it was hot, but like, dude, it was good weather. It was very good weather. Hot, but good weather. And then you had the entire, good weather season, the entire spring, summer, fall, to fucking destroy everything. Right? And then, for no fucking reason, it died out over the winter, other than human nature of I don't want to be out here in the winter, and then they can't rally more people back up, and many of them are dead anyway from their fucking bad habits and addiction, and listening to the science. They're all dead. And people like me were altruistic enough to tell my enemy that I didn't believe was really my enemy, like, dude, don't do these things. They'll be the end of you. Like, you're trying to end me right now. I don't think you really want to end me. You're just fucking confused and you need a target. And I'm here to tell you that this is didn't matter. Okay. Fine. Have it your way. Have it your way. Can't deal with somebody who's, abandoned, humanity. You can't sit here in front of me and have a goddamn fucking conversation. The weirdness of the world, and it took a hot minute, but eventually everything adjusted to something that's at least acceptable to me where I'm at. That's an important understanding and distinction, right? I did not think that this would be my tomorrow in 2022. I really didn't. Right? But things really started to turn around as I figured out the best way to fucking hold things together and work things out. Ugh, there's a lot of goddamn fucking chemtrails in the air. Fuck you, these chemtrails. Goddamn it. Law of attraction. I wish I could fucking, just dismiss the chemtrails. Don't we all wish we could just fucking go, nah, right? And, there isn't one person in a 10-mile fucking radius of here that watched an internet video and got a Cloudbuster. I'm talking about myself. I don't have a fucking Cloudbuster. I should have fucking got a Cloudbuster back in the day. I should still get a Cloudbuster. Cloudbusters are these neat little devices made out of PVC pipe that I don't know exactly how they work, but the way they're, you can point it at a cloud and it makes a cloud disappear, and you can fucking sorts of simple shit with it. I don't know much more about it than that. But But yeah, so when winter comes, pay attention to what ultimately somehow gets let go of in a person's nervous system, right? It's the way a fight gets given up, right? It's the way attitudes shift and everything. I mean, you know, like great examples: World War One, the Christmas ceasefire, right? The famous Christmas party between, what was it, the goddamn fucking French and Germans or something, or was it the English and the Germans? It was somebody in the Germans, and the fucking the officers had a goddamn fucking conversation, and it went up all the way up. I guess Hitler was down. No, wait, this wasn't Hitler. This would have been fucking the Kaiser. The Kaiser was down with it and everything else. And they're just like, all right, fucking have Christmas, I suppose. And, you know, so they had Christmas dinner together. Conversations about this and that. And it was just like, it's just this big pause on a fucking bloody football game. Effectively. These are men that just yesterday needed to kill each other, and tomorrow know they need to kill each other, but today they are men. They are men remembering something common or whatever, you know, because we're gonna follow the orders and do the thing, and I guess I'll see you in heaven. Think about what's going through somebody's fucking mind, right? So what's going through somebody's mind right now when they're thinking about you know, who they want to keep fighting, right? You know, that's why with each passing year, you know, we support the Ukraine is more of just a bumper sticker that shows up here and there, as opposed to an annoying fucking bat signal everywhere you fucking go and on the look on everybody's face. It's just more of a background identification badge at that point. It's just like, here's my beliefs, treat me accordingly. That's all it is. Just like, it doesn't make me want to help Ukraine or help whatever your fucking sign says. It just says, this is how you need to treat me. That's all it is. How do you want to treat me? I'm not even smoking this thing because it's clogged. I'm pulling on it to unclog it. Which I'm not going to keep doing that because it's a little embarrassing. All right. So you have to ask yourself, in what particular way would you see people falling for participation in unspeakable events that have got you, you know, like nerve-wracked, like the next coming fucking big psyop pandemic type of thing, right? And what are you gonna do if such a thing arises? Are you already in a place that you're taking care of yourself with the arising of this thing, right? I wasn't in 2020. I could not fucking believe it. It was beyond me. I thought that anything that was going to happen was gonna be fucking like government agents coming out of nowhere. You know, and in my wildest fantasies did I think that the American people would be this interested in that small part in being part of this whole fucking thing and really committing, like wow my fucking ignorance to what humanity was willing to do, right? And just because we're out of the quote Kali Yuga does not mean that we're in the fucking golden age. Quote, getting better. It's like the stock market. It's like, it just means the next crash won't be so bad. What's really funny is that when this thing is unclogged, it actually whistles when you suck on it to let you know that it's working. Ah, got it. There we go. It's not whistling now, maybe because it's still... Probably because it's low. It's also very low. These things, they don't start clogging up till, like, you're, like, 2/3 of the way through them. I don't know, this might not even last me the whole day. It's pretty low now. Woo! So, as for proper production content on this channel, I recorded some session of me on the bag. It's still in the GoPro, and so I need to take it out, take a look at it, and ask myself how I want to put it up. I'm feeling pretty good about how I was striking and everything else. So, you know, expect a little bit of that coming up. I'm gonna think about what I'm gonna do in maybe like a week or so. You know, I finished reading Ayn Rand's Fountainhead, and I want to get James True's Arc of Baphomet out of the way, and so I'm like almost through that. Why did I go this way? I'm a dumb. Anyway, yeah. So after I'm done reading Arc of Baphomet, which is a very interesting and good book, involving all sorts of interesting shit about chimeras, hermaphrodites, why do men have nipples? Aeon Byte Radio has been paying attention. All sorts of other, like, little oddities. And you know, I've heard a similar kind of dissertation that might work on not exactly the same level. I don't even want to say yet, because it's something I heard from a completely different YouTuber on a completely different side of the mythos, and I'd much rather have my thoughts together before I really go into that. But, you know, in a week or so, I should be done with James's book, unless I find no time to read for some weird reason. Because, you know, I can typically bang out a chapter of his in about 30 to 40 minutes. And I like to get like a chapter or so done a day. I'm over halfway through the book already. It's just like, it won't take long. See, he doesn't write like big, thick novels. Like Rand does. And then from there, I'm gonna put my head more in the game for channel content. Granted, I may also be feeding the Zeralath Shreds channel too, as I'm still working real hard on my guitar stuff, right? I'm using this technique because I suppose I have some little bit of like carpal tunnel or something, right? And so it feels like it's getting better already, but yesterday I started treating the carpal tunnel with a particular kind of stretch exercise like this that I hold, and so it's gonna need a few days, because carpal tunnel is something that is not happening in the wrist, it's something that's happening to the wrist. But it actually involves like the long arm and the bicep. So I'm like, oh, okay, sure. Okay, guys, I will catch you later.